you had Hindustan Zinc also that came out with their numbers. We have Mr. Arun Misra, who is the CEO and whole-time director at Hindustan Zinc, joining us this morning. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on ET Now. And before we talk about earnings, let's talk about the macro setup, because there's still a lot of uncertainty about the tariff and its impact on the global growth, which could actually lower demand for commodities, and especially coming from China. How do you read these developments and the impact that it's going to have, especially on the global commodity market, where you are also a significant player?
So if I look at our product, zinc is concerned, we are primarily a domestic player, and we see the growth in India intact. The government of India's push for infrastructure remains same. Growth of Indian middle class is intact, and auto market should also do well. So we are not worried as far as is concerned. But if you look at overall commodity, yes, we have seen the Brent going down. Coal prices are also southwards. That's a help for us in reducing our cost. But we are waiting. I think it's another 3 to 6 months when the new supply lines, supply chain management will be re-established. We would know the finality of Trump's tariff, because he has got a 90 days freeze for most of the countries apart from China. So we will see how it plays out. And as far as our operations for this fiscal year is concerned, we are totally working on domestic demand, and we are quite protected that way.
Okay, Mr. Mishra, we do understand that because Hinzinc is largely domestic focused and hence demand will not be impacted. But what about domestic zinc prices? Where do you see zinc prices headed? Are you penciling in any downside risk due to the tariff war-led global growth concerns, if any, on your business?
So for the next 3 to 6 months of uncertainty period, I don't expect it to cross beyond 2750. It will remain between 2600 to 2750 range bound and continue like that. But by that time, if these tariff issues are settled one way or other, either the countries will find their new market, like Tech Resources has been talking that from Canada they will look towards Europe and Middle East, or maybe parts of Asia as well. See, at the end of the day, USA consumes about 700,000 tons of zinc only, which is 0.7 million ton out of 12 million tons production globally. So that's not even a million ton. But then US consumption cannot vanish. Productions has to happen in that country. So maybe some amount of supply will be curtailed. Otherwise, I don't see much change from, like, it's not a drastic change like European zinc is being dumped in India. In the meantime, Government of India has come out with BIS specification being mandatory for all zinc producers to sell zinc in India, where we are BIS compliant. Imported zinc is not. So it will take quite a lot of time for this tariff war to play out in the zinc world inside India.
Right. Now let's shift focus to your company's performance in the quarter gone by, sir, because zinc cost of production stood at about $994 per ton, which is the lowest in about 16 quarters, and it is also lower than your guidance, about $1,050 to $1,100 per ton. Do you think this is sustainable now in FY26?
So we should be in the same range of about $1,050 per ton, and it's a structural change we have done. We have achieved this structural change by changing mechanisms in our power plants, where we were earlier designed to consume 80% imported coal, and now we are consuming about and 20% domestic coal. Now we are consuming about 44-45% domestic coal. In quarter 4, we have gone as high as 46% domestic coal. As long as coal is available domestically, we will be able to consume. We have that capability. Parallelly, we are increasing our share of RE power, renewable power in our power mix. We have ended the year at about 13%. In quarter 4, it was, I think, 15%. Next year, we will be touching 30% RE power mix. So structurally, we have attacked cost, and our cost will come down.
Okay, sir, and for FY25, the whole year gone by, mined metal production for the full year stood at 1,095 KT, slightly shy of your guidance of 1,100 to 1,125 KT. What has led to that? And now for FY26, is 1,125 a conservative estimate? Could we call it that?
No, so our mines have demonstrated they can produce more than 300,000 tons in a quarter. So that means they have the inbuilt capacity to produce 1.2 million ton in a year. We arrange the production depending upon mine development. Everything is a cost. The mine development is also a costly affair. So we tied up with the smelters producing. At the end of the day, we have produced in about 1052 KT or 1.052 million tons of metal. Corresponding mined metal we could produce, and enough of stock is available. So if required, we can produce 1.2 million. So our next task is to ramp up smelters to be able to produce 1.1 million ton. And if they produce, then corresponding mined metal of 1.125 million ton we can produce.
Right, sir. Since I have you with me on the show, how can I not ask you about the demerger, one of the biggest news factors that everybody is watching out for very closely. If you could help us understand, is there any progress on that particular front, or is it like completely off the table for the time being? What's your view on that?
Right now, we are looking at, we launched the demerger scheme when our market cap was $16 billion. And we said that by doing all that actions, part of it was EBITDA increase and part of it was demerger, making silver a separate entity. But in the meantime, due to commodity situations, the market price changed and we already crossed $20 billion in market cap. So we are now focusing on how to increase volume and talking about, we are planning on the drawing board how to do 1 million ton expansion. We believe that if we can double the EBITDA, then our valuation itself will go up drastically. And so the first focus is to bring 1 million ton expansion in the reality. Maybe we in a month's time, we will let you know about the first phase of that 1 million ton expansion. And that first phase should take us to about 1.5 million ton of metal.
Right, so that was exactly my next question. The 1 million ton expansion that you just spoke about, how much cash outflow will that entail? If you could help us with some numbers on that front.
So that is the biggest capex plan. If we do 1 million ton expansion, anywhere between $2.5 billion would be required to be spent. So that is the biggest capex plan. We plan to announce in a span of 3 months of time, starting anywhere in June or July.
All right, sir, then we leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now to talk about the quarter gone by for Hindustan Zinc, talking about the demerger process and what's the progress on that particular front. Thank you so much for being part of the show.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.